Morning sunlight spilled across Crown Luxe Boutique, Licora Island branch, turning its crystal doors into mirrors of gold. Inside, the air smelled of imported perfume, leather, and silent judgment. The wealthy strolled through aisles of silk and diamonds, but at the far corner, a girl in a simple gray dress was quietly folding clothes. Amara Kenechukwu Obi. Her braids were neatly packed, her skin glowed from hard work, but her eyes carried the weight of 1,000 unspoken stories. Every morning, Amara arrived before everyone else. She swept the marble floors, arranged the mannequins, straightened the couture dresses that she could never afford to touch for herself. She worked with care, dignity, and the kind of gentle grace that no amount of poverty could erase. But Crown Luxe was a world that worshipped money and punished anyone who didn't have it. Vanessa Omokachi, the boutique manager, strutted in wearing a red designer jumpsuit. Her heels clicked sharply, her confidence filling the room like an expensive scent. "Amara," she said, not even looking at her. "Coffee. Hot. Before my mood decides your fate today." Amara nodded. "Yes, ma." "And hurry. Our elite clients will be here soon. You know you don't belong among them." The other staff chuckled, enjoying the small cruelty. It was their morning entertainment, mocking the girl who never fought back. But Amara only lowered her gaze and walked away. Not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. Her mother had taught her long ago, when people speak from pride, silence is the answer of the wise. As she served customers, folded more dresses, and endured Vanessa's constant insults, Amara held tightly onto a quiet truth-own day. Her kindness would matter. But that day felt very far away. Around noon, the boutique filled with its usual crowd of rich wives, socialites, and influencers. Amara moved with quiet speed, helping wherever she could. She never complained when her commissions were stolen, when Vanessa pushed every heavy task to her, when customers looked at her as if she were invisible, because she needed this job. It was her only lifeline, her only chance to keep her mother's small apartment in Rosewood Street paid for, her only way to survive in a city that favored the wealthy and ignored the rest. But even on days like this, when her spirit felt bruised, Amara still found reasons to smile because kindness, even in suffering, was her identity. She didn't know it yet, but this simple kindness, this soft strength, was about to pull her into a world she never imagined. Because fate was already walking toward Crown Luxe Boutique in worn shoes, tired eyes, and a disguise powerful enough to change everything. Everything was about to shift, and Amara's life was about to collide with destiny. The afternoon sun cast a soft glow on the glass doors of Crown Luxe Boutique, reflecting luxury and arrogance in equal measure. Wealthy clients drifted in and out, their laughter echoing like chimes made of privilege. Then the door swung open. A hush fell. A woman stepped inside, not dressed in silk, not dripping in gold, but in worn slippers, a faded wrapper, and a headscarf that had seen too many seasons. Her skin was wrinkled, her back slightly bent, but her eyes, sharp and alive, searched the room with quiet curiosity. Mama Nana Cole, disguised, unrecognized, testing hearts, as she always did. Vanessa Omokachi sneered instantly. "Security must be sleeping. This is Crown Luxe, not a charity home." The staff laughed. A few customers turned away in disgust. But Amara felt her heart tremble. The old woman looked tired, lost, as if she had been walking for hours. Amara dropped the dresses in her hands and rushed forward. "Good afternoon, Ma," she said softly. "Please come sit. You look tired." Mama Nana's face softened. A warmth flickered in her eyes, recognition, gratitude, and something deeper. You are kind, my daughter, she whispered. Vanessa scoffed loudly. Amara, step away from that woman. She smells like the streets. Amara ignored her. She guided Mama Nena to a chair, brought her cold water, and gently placed it into her hands. The old woman drank slowly, her every movement watched with mocking amusement by the staff. But she didn't care. Her focus was on the young woman who had knelt beside her without hesitation. You have a good heart, Mama Nena murmured. Good hearts attract strange blessings. Amara smiled shyly. I just didn't want you to feel unwelcome. The old woman leaned back, studying her with an intensity that made Amara shift nervously. I want to buy clothes, Mama Nena said suddenly. Fine ones, 12 outfits. The staff burst into laughter. Vanessa rolled her eyes dramatically. You? Buy what? Wrapper and slippers? But Amara's face lit up. I will pick them for you, Ma. Please wait here. The mocking voices faded behind her as she moved all through the boutique, selecting suits, caftans, silk blouses, beautiful shoes, everything of the highest quality. She worked with care, joy, and hope she tried to hide. Maybe today would be different. Maybe Vanessa would finally see her worth. But fate had other plans. When Amara returned with the clothes, Mama Nena clapped happily. I will take them all. The room froze. Vanessa's smirk returned. Total is $160 million, Mama. You can pay, right? Mama Nena patted her old wrapper and smiled gently. Oh dear, I forgot my money. The boutique exploded with laughter. Vanessa's voice became a sharp blade. Amara, you foolish girl. You wasted our time on a beggar. But Amara turned to the old woman, her eyes filled not with anger, but compassion. It's okay, Ma, she whispered. You don't need to buy anything. Let me give you money for a ride home. She opened her small purse, the same purse containing her last money, and pressed a few notes into the old woman's hand. Silence spread like thunder. Even Vanessa blinked. Mama Nena stared at the money, her eyes glistening, not with poverty, but with awe. You gave me your last? Amara nodded. I just want you to get home safely. In that moment, destiny bowed its head, because kindness, true kindness, always writes the next chapter of a person's life. And Amara had just rewritten hers. Laughter echoed across the boutique like shattered glass. Staff held their stomachs, customers whispered behind manicured hands, and Vanessa Omokachi smiled with wicked triumph. Ah, look at her, Vanessa sneered. Giving her last money to a dirty old woman. Amara, you're beyond pathetic. But Amara Kenichiku Obi stood still. Pained? Yes. Humiliated? Completely. Broken? Never. Because the old woman was looking at her with eyes full of something no luxury boutique had ever shown her. Gratitude? Respect. Blessing. Mama Nena Cole placed a trembling hand over the small notes Amara had given her. My daughter, she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. People may laugh at you today, but the heavens are applauding. Amara blinked rapidly, fighting tears. Vanessa rolled her eyes. Oh, please. Enough of this drama. Security. 2 guards rushed forward. One of the senior staff clapped mockingly. Time to escort the beggar and her foolish friend out of Crown Lux. Amara stepped in front of the old woman instinctively. Please don't touch her. She hasn't done anything wrong. Vanessa walked closer, her perfume sharp, her voice icy. You don't get to tell me how to run my boutique. Crown Lux is an elite empire, a brand built on excellence, class, and status. And you, she jabbed a manicured finger toward Amara, are ruining its image. Amara swallowed. I was only trying to help. And for that, Vanessa said slowly, savoring every second, you are fired. A heavy silence fell. Then came the whispers. Good for her. She never belonged here anyway. At least now the boutique will smell better. Amara felt her chest tighten, not from the insult, but from the fear of what awaited her outside these glass walls. No job. No money. No safety net. Just Rosewood Street. Just bills waiting. Just her mother's medicine almost finished. But even through the ache, she did something unexpected. She smiled at Mama Nena. It's okay, Ma, she whispered softly. Please, I'll keep the money. The world is hard enough. The old woman's eyes filled with tears. Not because she was poor, but because she was witnessing a purity rarely seen in her wealthy circles. The guard stepped forward. Mama Nena raised her hand calmly. No need for force. I can walk. She stood, her back straight, dignity returning like a crown being placed on royalty. As they walked toward the door, Vanessa called out loudly, Don't come back here, ever. But Mama Nena didn't flinch. She simply paused, turned slightly, and said, Child, sometimes the door you are pushed out of is the door God never wanted you to enter in the first place. Amara inhaled shakily. Something inside her shifted. Not brokenness, but awakening. They stepped into the sunlight. The boutique doors closed behind them, and in that moment fate turned. Because Miss Beggar, Nena Cole, was heading back to Hillcrest Estate, to a mansion with gold gates, marble pillars, and a grandson who ruled Licora's business world. And Amara, the girl who lost everything in one afternoon, had just become the center of a billionaire family's destiny. The taxi's engine hummed softly as it rolled away from Crown Luxe Boutique, carrying an old woman who looked far too calm for someone who had just been mocked, shoved, and thrown out. Amara walked alone down the street, clutching her small bag with trembling fingers. Every step felt heavy. Her mother's medicine, her unpaid rent, her empty purse, everything crashed down at once. But miles away, inside that taxi, Mama Nena Cole sat, with a quiet smile, a smile that carried secrets bigger than the boutique that had humiliated her. We are close, driver, she said gently. The taxi turned into Hillcrest Estate, Licora's most elite, heavily secured neighborhood. Mansions stood like marble kingdoms, each one glowing with wealth and silence. The driver looked back at her, stunned. Madam, you live here? Mama Nena only chuckled. Appearances are not always truth, my son. The taxi stopped before a pair of towering golden gates. They opened automatically as security bowed respectfully. Inside lay the Cole Nwoko Grand Estetea mansion, so massive it seemed to breathe power. Crystal fountains danced in the yard. Tall glass windows caught the sunlight. Marble pillars stretched toward the sky. And in the center of the entrance hall stood a man tall, sharply dressed, with a presence that commanded the room without a single word spoken. Darius Cole Nwoko, CEO of Crown Luxe Group, Licora's youngest billionaire. A walking storm wrapped in quiet elegance. When he saw his grandmother, he rushed forward. Grandma, where have you been? We've been worried. Mama Nena tapped her wrapper playfully. I went to see the world, and the world showed me its true colors today. Darius' eyes narrowed. Explain. She told him everything. The boutique, the insults, the laughter, the humiliation, and then the girl. The girl who gave her her last money. The girl who defended her. The girl who treated her like a human being. Amara. With each detail, Darius's jaw tightened. They threw you out of Crown Luxe Boutique? He said, voice low, controlled, dangerous. Yes, Mama Nena replied softly. And one girl treated you kindly? Yes. Darius turned to Tunde Ibrahim, his loyal assistant, who had been standing quietly behind him. Tunde. Yes, sir? I want the boutique's security footage. Now. Minutes later, they stood before a massive screen in Darius's private study. The footage played. Every insult, every sneer, every moment Amara stood up for a stranger. And then, the moment she gave her last money. Darius leaned back slowly, eyes fixed on the screen. That girl, he murmured. She is a rare soul, Mama Nena added gently. People like her come once in a generation. Darius's voice dropped into a whisper that carried command. Find her. Tunde hesitated. Sir, find her? Where do I begin? Darius's eyes hardened with the kind of determination that built empires. Every street in Licora, every corner of Rosewood, every taxi route. I want Amara Obi brought to this estate. Mama Nena smiled quietly. Destiny had begun its work. And somewhere far from the mansion, a girl with tired feet and a broken heart had no idea that the world she thought rejected her was already searching for her. The sun was slipping lower over Licora City, staining the sky with soft gold as Amara Kenechukwu Obi walked slowly down Rosewood Street. Her steps were unsteady, her eyes glassy. Every breath felt heavier than the last. She replayed the humiliation again and again, the laughter, the insults, Vanessa's voice cutting through her like a knife. And for that, you're fired. Each word felt like another door slamming in her face. Amara clutched her bag tighter against her chest. It was almost empty now, just a small comb, a worn diary, and a purse with nothing left inside. She imagined her mother waiting at home, hoping she brought groceries. But she had barely enough strength to think. How would she explain? How would she survive? How would she even get home tomorrow? Her eyes filled with tears she refused to let fall. Then a soft hum broke the silence. A black Maybach, S680, rolled to a slow stop beside her. The luxury car looked so out of place on Rosewood Street that passers-by froze. Amara's heart seized in fear. The tinted window lowered halfway. A neatly dressed man leaned forward, his voice calm, respectful, professional. Good evening, Miss Amara Obi. Her breath caught. Yes? She whispered. My name is Tunde Ibrahim, he said with a small nod. I'm the personal assistant to Mr. Darius Cole Nwoko. Amara blinked rapidly, certain she'd misheard. Who? She stuttered. Tunde smiled slightly. The CEO of Crown Lux Group. Her stomach dropped. Why would someone like that know her name? This must be a mistake, Amara said, stepping back. I didn't do anything. You did something extraordinary, Tunde replied gently. And my employer would like to see you. Fear and disbelief twisted inside her. No, I don't belong in that world. Please, You are perfectly safe, Tunde reassured. Mrs. Nena Cole, the woman you helped today, sent me personally. Amara's breath faltered. That was her? Yes. He paused, studying her with a quiet respect. She insisted you be brought home, and to the estate. Estate? She shook her head vigorously. No, I can't. I'm not. Tunde opened the back door slowly, revealing plush leather seats that looked softer than anything she had ever sat on. Miss Amara, destiny rarely knocks twice. The world fell quiet. Children stopped playing. A vendor paused mid-sentence. Even the wind seemed to listen. Amara looked down at her worn shoes, her trembling hands, her tired reflection on the car's glossy frame. Why would a billionaire send for her? But deep inside, beneath the fear, a tiny whisper rose go. She exhaled, steadying her voice. Okay, I'll come. Tundi smiled warmly. Amara stepped into the car, her heart racing, her future trembling in her hands. As the Maybach glided through Licora City, leaving Rosewood Street behind, Amara stared out the window in awe. The closer they got to Hillcrest Estate, the bigger everything became. The houses, the gates, the trees, the silence. When the car finally slowed before the towering golden gates of the Cole and Woko Grand Estate, Amara gasped softly. "This can't be for me," she whispered. But the gates opened. The world she thought she would never touch, wealth, royalty, and destiny, opened its doors for her. And deep inside the mansion, Darius Cole and Woko was waiting. The Maybach glided to a smooth stop in front of the Cole and Woko Grand Estate, its headlights casting long shadows across marble pillars and manicured gardens. Amara stepped out slowly, her breath hitching at the sheer scale of the mansion. It looked like a palace, a world made of gold and silence, a world she was never meant to enter. But destiny had its own keys. "Please, this way," Tunda Ibrahim said gently, guiding her toward the entrance. Servants in crisp uniforms opened the door as though greeting royalty, not a girl from Rosewood Street. The air inside was cool, scented with jasmine and old money. Chandeliers dripped from the ceiling like frozen waterfalls of gold. And at the top of the grand marble staircase stood a man, tall, poised, dressed in a tailored black suit that fit him like a second skin. His presence was enough to still the air. Darius Cole Nwoko, Licora's youngest billionaire. The man whose name made the city stop breathing. Amara froze. She had seen his face on magazine covers, business articles, billboards, but reality was sharper than every photo. His features were chiseled, his expression unreadable, his aura cold and commanding, like someone who carried entire empires in his silence. He descended the staircase slowly, each step echoing through the hall. Amara's heart hammered. When he reached her, he paused, studying her with eyes that felt too intense, too knowing. "You're Amara Kenechukwu Obi," he said, his voice low, firm, and unexpectedly warm. Amara swallowed. "Yes, sir." Before Darius could speak again, a familiar soft voice broke the tension. "There she is." Amara turned, and her face lit up with relief. Mama Nanena Cole entered the room with the slow grace of a queen disguised as a grandmother. She reached for Amara's hands immediately. "My dear child," Mama Nena said, squeezing gently. "Thank you for coming." Amara's voice trembled. You live here?" Mama Nena chuckled. "I'm not as helpless as I look today." Amara's knees felt weak. The old woman she defended, the one she gave her last money, was a grandmother to wealth. Real, immense wealth. Mama Nena turned to her grandson, her voice now firm and full of quiet authority. "Darius, this is the young woman I told you about. The one who showed me kindness when the world mocked." Darius shifted his gaze back to Amara. This time his expression softened, just slightly. "You gave your last money to my grandmother," he said. "No one has ever done something like that for her." Amara shook her head. "I didn't know who she was. I just didn't want her to feel alone." A flicker, barely there, crossed Darius's face. Respect. A shock to his guarded world. Mama Nena beamed. "This is the kind of heart every home needs." Amara blushed deeply. I'm just an ordinary girl, Ma." Darius spoke quietly, but with a weight that made her breath catch. "There is nothing ordinary about you." Her heart thudded loudly. For a moment the room disappeared, leaving only the girl who had been broken at Crown Lux, and the billionaire who suddenly saw her in a light she had never known. Mama Nena clapped her hands softly. "Come, Amara, join us for dinner. You are our special guest." Amara hesitated. Oh, she felt out of place. Too small for this world of gold. But before she could protest, Darius extended a hand toward her. Not to hold, but to guide. "Welcome to the Cole Nwoko home," he said quietly. "You're safe here." And as Amara stepped deeper into the mansion, something inside her shifted. Fear melted into possibility. Pain melted into wonder. And a door she never knew existed opened wide. Dinner at the Cole Nwoko Grand Estate felt like a dream Amara was afraid to touch. The long table glittered with gold cutlery, crystal glasses, and candles that flickered like stars. Servants moved gracefully, filling plates with meals she had only seen on television. But Amara barely tasted anything. Her mind replayed everything: Darius's intense gaze, Mama Nena's warmth, the weight of luxury pressing around her like a second skin. At the head of the table, Mama Nena raised her chin thoughtfully. "Amara, my dear, you showed me the kind of kindness money cannot buy, and for that, we want to thank you." Amara blinked nervously. "There's no need, Ma, truly. I didn't do anything special." Darius leaned back, his dark eyes fixed on her. "You did something extraordinary," he said quietly. "Few people in Licora would give their last money to a stranger." Amara lowered her gaze. "I just didn't want you to feel unwanted," she whispered. The silence that followed wasn't heavy. It was reverent. Darius nodded to one of the staff. "Bring the boxes." Moments later, 3 servants entered carrying large luxury boxes wrapped with gold ribbons. Another stepped forward with a smaller velvet box in his hand. Amara stared in confusion. What is this?" "Gifts," Mama Nena said warmly. "A small token of appreciation." One box opened to reveal designer clothes, smooth silk dresses, tailored outfits worth more than her yearly salary. Another box opened to reveal custom-made luxury shoes. The third held a Crown Luxe signature handbag, the rare kind seen only on celebrities. Amara's mouth parted in shock. "That's not all," Darius said quietly. Tunde stepped forward and opened the velvet box. Inside lay a key. A key with the Rolls-Royce emblem shining like a jewel. Amara's breath caught painfully. "This is a Rolls-Royce Phantom," Darius said. "It's yours." She stumbled backward, nearly tripping on the marble floor. No, I can't accept this. It's too much." Mama Nena frowned. "Too much for kindness?" Amara shook her head desperately. "I didn't help you because I wanted anything. I did it because it was right." Darius watched closely as if seeing something rare, precious. "You're refusing a Rolls-Royce?" he asked, genuinely surprised. "Yes," she breathed. Her voice trembled, but her conviction didn't. "I don't want to feel like I'm being paid for doing good." The room went silent. Mama Nena's eyes softened. "You have the humility of a queen, child." But Darius was looking at her like she had just rewritten the rules of his world. Most people begged for his attention. Most people chased his wealth. Most people worshipped his power. But Amara girl from Rosewood Street was refusing luxury as calmly as one refuses a second helping of food. He exhaled slowly, almost in disbelief. "You're different," he murmured. Amara swallowed, feeling overwhelmed. I appreciate your kindness, but I can't take these gifts." Mama Nena suddenly smiled. "Then at least do this for me," she said gently. "Stay with us. For a short while. I enjoy your company." Amara's heart pounded. "Stay here?" "Yes," Mama Nena nodded. Darius added quietly, "You are safe here and wanted." Tears stung her eyes. For the first time in her life, someone powerful wasn't using kindness to control her. They were honoring her. After a long moment, she nodded softly. Okay, I'll stay for a little while. Mama and Nena clapped in delight. But Darius simply watched her curiosity, admiration, and something deeper beginning to form in his gaze. A spark. A shift. A quiet beginning he didn't yet understand. Morning sunlight streamed through the tall windows of the Cole and Woko Grand Estate, illuminating everything in warm gold except the tension building beneath the surface. Amara had barely adjusted to her guest room when chaos arrived loudly, proudly, and in designer heels. A red convertible screeched into the estate's driveway. The engine cut. The door slammed. And out stepped Bianca Adalik. Tall, stunning, sharp as a blade wrapped in velvet. A woman whose perfume cost more than Amara's monthly salary. A woman who was used to getting everything she wanted. Especially Darius, Cole, and Woko. Bianca stormed into the mansion without waiting for permission. Staff trembled. Security gave way. She had that kind of audacity, the kind built on years of privilege and misplaced confidence. "Darius!" she called out, her voice ringing through the marble hall. "Darius, where are you?" Her heels clicked like gunshots against the polished floor. Darius appeared at the top of the staircase, adjusting the sleeve of his black shirt. His expression was calm, unreadable, but not welcoming. "Bianca," he said flatly, "you're loud this morning." Bianca tossed her hair back. "Where have you been? I came to see you last night." "Security said you refused to see me. Why?" Before Darius could answer, a soft voice drifted from behind him. "Good morning, sir." Bianca's head snapped up. Amara descended the staircase slowly, wearing one of the simple gowns Mama Nena had chosen for her, a pastel blue dress that made her look effortlessly graceful. Bianca's face twisted. "And who," she said, her tone dripping venom, "is this?" Amara froze at the bottom step. Before she could open her mouth, Mama Nena entered the room with her usual serene dignity. "This is Amara Kenechukwu Obi," she said warmly. "My guest." Bianca blinked, then laughed. Laughed. "In this house?" she scoffed. "A guest? Oh, please. She looks like she should be serving breakfast, not eating it." Amara felt heat fill her cheeks, but she stood quietly, refusing to fold under cruelty. Mama Nena frowned. "Young woman, mind your words." Bianca ignored her, pointing at Amara with a perfectly manicured finger. "Darius, who is she? Don't tell me you picked up some charity case and brought her here." Then she smirked. "Or did she work her way into your good graces another way?" Amara stiffened. Darius moved before anyone saw him coming. In 2 steps, he stood between Amara and Bianca, his presence suddenly cold, dangerous. "Bianca," he said in a voice that dropped several degrees, "you will not speak to her like that." Bianca's eyes widened. "What?" "You heard me." Bianca laughed nervously. "Darius, be serious. This girl's obviously trying to climb her way into—" "Enough." The word cracked through the air like thunder. Bianca froze. Darius's voice was controlled, but beneath the calm was an edge sharper than steel. "Amara is my grandmother's guest. She treated Mama and Nena with kindness when your entire boutique staff behaved like savages." Bianca recoiled as if slapped. "What does that have to do with her staying here?" "Everything," Darius said coldly. "She showed more humanity in 1 hour than many people show in a lifetime." Bianca's eyes narrowed. "So you're choosing her over me?" Darius didn't blink. "I never chose you." The silence that followed was brutal. Bianca's chest rose and fell as she struggled to breathe, her world shattering in the space of a sentence. For years she had walked around Licora assuming she was the future Mrs. Cole Nwoko. She shaped her identity around it. Now a girl from Rosewood Street was collapsing that fantasy without saying a single word. Bianca's voice cracked. "You'll regret humiliating me, Darius." She turned sharply, her heels echoing anger with each step. But before she left, she paused beside Amara so only she could hear. "This isn't over," she whispered. Amara didn't flinch. When Bianca finally stormed out, Mama Nena sighed and touched Amara's arm gently. "Do not worry, my daughter. Some storms appear powerful, but carry no real rain." Amara smiled faintly. But Darius was staring at her with something new in his eyes. Something deeper. Something dangerous. Something he was not ready to name. 2 days after Bianca's outburst, Amara stood at the base of Marina View Towers, staring up at the glass skyscraper that pierced the Licora skyline. Crown Luxe headquarters. Darius's empire. A world she never imagined entering. Tunde stood beside her, smiling gently. "Are you ready, Miss Amara?" She swallowed hard. I hope so." Inside the lobby, the air changed. Polished floors, high ceilings, gold accents, everything screamed wealth, power, and prestige. Employees in tailored suits moved with the confidence of people who believed the world belonged to them. And then they saw her. The whispers began instantly. "Is that the girl who's been staying at the estate? She looks like she came from the mainland. Maybe she's someone's charity project." "No. Rumor says she seduced the CEO." Amara felt their eyes burn into her skin, their cruel curiosity pricking like needles. But she remembered Mama Nena's words. "A calm heart survives the loudest storms." She lifted her chin and kept walking. Tunde led her to the executive floor, the very top of the skyscraper, to Darius Cole Nwoko's private office. The moment she entered, Darius looked up from his desk. His gaze softened in a way reserved only for her. "You came," he said quietly. Amara nodded. "You asked me to." He stood adjusting his cufflinks. "From today forward, you'll work as my temporary secretary." Her breath hitched. "Secretary? To a billionaire?" Before she could respond, the door swung open. Bianca Delica. Beautiful. Furious. Poison in heels. Oh, look who's here," Bianca said with a slow, mocking smile. "Crown Luxe's newest charity case." Amara looked at the floor, refusing to rise to the insult. Bianca circled her, like a predator hunting its prey. "How did you get this job, sweetie? Did you smile at the right man? Or did Daddy Darius pick you out of pity?" Amara's heart clenched. She wanted to defend herself, to shout, to cry. But dignity held her tongue. Darius stepped forward sharply. "Bianca!" His voice cut through the room like ice. "You will treat her with respect." Bianca blinked and laughed. "Respect? Her? Darius, be serious." Her voice rose just enough for the entire outer office to hear. "Do you know what people are saying? That this girl is sleeping her way to the top? That she's your little secret?" The pen in Darius's hand snapped in half. "Enough." Bianca froze. But the damage was done. Rumors spread like wildfire. Every floor, every department, every break room. Amara is his mistress. She used her looks to get close. She's after his money. She's pretending to be innocent. By lunchtime, she couldn't walk down the hallway without hearing a new insult. In the break room, a woman scoffed loudly. "So she thinks she's better than us because she caught Darius's attention?" Another laughed. "Please, she's nothing but a desperate gold digger." Amara stood frozen, tears burning behind her eyes. She had never felt so exposed, so judged, so alone, until a familiar voice filled the doorway. "Anyone who insults her," Darius said, his tone cold enough to freeze the air, "will answer to me." The room went silent. Darius stepped forward, placing himself between Amara and the crowd. "She is my grandmother's guest," he said, enunciating every word. "And if any of you forget that, your employment ends." No one spoke. No one breathed. And for the first time that day, Amara felt safe. Darius turned to her. "Come," he said softly. "We have work to do." And as she followed him out of the break room, she realized something. The world might judge her harshly, but Darius Cole Nwoko was beginning to stand beside her. Not as a boss, not as a billionaire, but as someone who saw her, truly saw her. By the next morning, Crown Luxe headquarters was electric with gossip. The rumor wildfire from yesterday had grown into a full-blown inferno. Darius is protecting her because she's his secret lover. She's living at the estate. Can you imagine? She probably planned it all from the beginning. Girls like her always find shortcuts. Every whisper stabbed Amara's heart like tiny blades. Every stare reminded her she did not belong here. She kept her head down, typing quietly at her desk outside Darius's office, her fingers trembling slightly with each keystroke. She wished she could disappear into the computer screen. Inside, Darius Cole Nwoko watched her through the glass wall. The way her shoulders slumped. The way she avoided eye contact. The way she held pain with quiet dignity. Something in him tightened. Enough was enough. At exactly 1 p.m., Tunde approached her. "Miss Amara, Mr. Darius needs you in the main conference hall." Her breath caught. The big one?" "Yes." Her heart thundered as she followed Tunde down the long corridor lined with glass walls and framed accolades. Employees stopped to watch. Some whispered. Some smirked. When the doors to the executive auditorium opened, Amara froze. The entire floor, managers, supervisors, team leads, senior executives, was gathered. Bianca Adeleka stood near the front, arms folded, chin raised in triumph, ready to witness Amara's downfall. Darius stepped up to the podium. The room fell silent. Amara stood near the back, her palms sweating. Darius looked over the crowd, his jaw sharp, his presence electric. "I called this emergency meeting," he began, "to address a matter that stops today." Everyone leaned forward. He continued, his voice steady, powerful. "Rumors, lies, character attacks, harassment." Eyes darted toward Amara. Darius did not raise his voice, but the air shook with the weight of every word. "You all know my grandmother, Mama Nena Cole. She walked into one of our Crown Luxe boutiques and was mocked, insulted, and thrown out by people who work for me." Guilt rippled across the room. "And when no one helped her, one woman did." He pointed, not subtly, not quietly, but clearly, straight at Amara. "She treated my grandmother with dignity when the rest treated her like trash. She gave her last money to help her get home. She defended her when she thought she was just a beggar." Murmurs erupted. Darius's voice hardened, turning cold as steel. "So when I brought her here to work, she was met with rumor, cruelty, and disrespect." His gaze slid directly to Bianca. "And I know exactly who started it." Bianca's face drained of color. Darius continued. "Let me make one thing clear. If anyone speaks about Miss Amara in any way that is not work-related, I will personally terminate their employment." The room froze. You could hear a pin drop. Bianca opened her mouth. "Darius, this is—" "Bianca," Darius said sharply. You will stay silent." Her face burned red with humiliation. Darius turned back to the entire auditorium. "Amara Obi is under my protection," he declared, "and under my grandmother's blessing." Gasps filled the room. Darius ended the meeting with only 4 words. "Treat her accordingly. Dismissed." Chairs scraped. People whispered in shock. No one dared glance at Amara directly. Fear had replaced their judgment. As everyone filed out, Darius walked toward her. She stepped back nervously. "You didn't have to do that," she whispered. "Yeah," he said softly, lowering his voice so only she could hear. "I did." Amara blinked, her heart swelling painfully in her chest. Darius's eyes softened. "No one gets to break you," he said. "No one." And for the first time since stepping into Crown Luxe headquarters, Amara felt seen. Protected. Safe. Not because Darius was powerful, but because he cared. A little too much. More than he intended. And more than she was ready to accept. Yet destiny was far from finished with them. The entire floor of Crown Luxe headquarters buzzed with whispers after Darius's explosive meeting, but by evening, the building grew quiet. Most employees rushed home, eager to escape the tension. But Amara remained. She sat at her desk outside Darius's office, sorting files with slow, careful movements. Her mind replayed the moment Darius pointed at her in the auditorium, how he defended her, how his voice softened when he spoke to her, how the entire empire had gone silent at his command. Her heart fluttered, then steadied. No, she couldn't think like that. He was her boss, a billionaire, a man worlds above her. She was just Amara. At 8:42 p.m., the glass door of Darius's office opened. "You're still here," he said quietly. Amara looked up, startled. "I just wanted to finish these documents for you." Darius stepped closer, his footsteps soft against the carpet. "You've done more than enough for one day. Come in." She hesitated, then obeyed. His office was dimly lit, the city lights of Licora shimmering through the floor-to-ceiling windows. The skyline reflected against his glass desk, bathing him in a glow that made him look both powerful and heartbreakingly human. He gestured toward the small sitting area. "Sit." Amara perched at the edge of the leather chair, nervous. Darius watched her quietly for a moment, too quietly. "You didn't deserve any of what happened today," he finally said. She shook her head gently. "People talk, sir. I've learned to live with it." "But I haven't," he said sharply. She blinked in surprise. Darius leaned forward, elbows resting on his knees, eyes locked on hers. "Amara, when I saw how they treated you, something inside me snapped." Her breath caught. He ran a hand through his hair, visibly frustrated. "I've never defended anyone like that before. Not publicly. Not personally." He looked at her again. "But with you, I didn't even think. I just reacted." Amara's heart pounded painfully in her chest. "I don't want to be a problem," she whispered. "You're not." His voice softened. "You are. The only part of my day that feels calm." Her lips parted. Darius stood and walked to the window, hands in his pockets. But people are scared of me," he said, gazing out at the city. "They see a man who runs empires. They don't see the man underneath. They don't want to." He turned slowly. "But you look at me like I'm human." Amara's throat tightened. He took a step closer, then another, and another, until he was standing right before her. She could feel the heat of him, smell the faint cologne that clung to him, warm, masculine, impossibly intoxicating. "Amara," he said softly. Her name on his tongue felt like something intimate. "Yes, sir?" she breathed. Darius hesitated. Just a moment. Then the words fell out of him in a whisper he couldn't take back. Go out with me. The world stopped. Amara froze, her pulse roaring in her ears. What? She whispered, sure she misheard. Darius's jaw tightened slightly, but his eyes remained tender, determined. Go out with me, he repeated, voice lower this time. One evening, dinner, just us. Her breath trembled. But why me? Because, he said, stepping even closer. You're the first woman who has seen me. Not my wealth, not my name. Just me. Amara felt her knees weaken. Her mind screamed to say, no, this is dangerous. This is impossible. This is madness. But her heart whispered a truth she'd been too afraid to admit. She felt something too. Something gentle, growing, uncontrollable. She swallowed hard. I don't know, she whispered. I'm scared. Darius exhaled softly, his voice barely above a breath. I am too. Silence settled around them. Not awkward, but charged. Alive. Breathing. Two people standing on a line neither expected to cross. Two worlds touching for the first time. And fate watching, waiting, knowing. Because this wasn't the end. It was only the beginning